Hi there! This movie review video is brought to you by Svartbjörn Productions. And this time we have some releases I hadn't gotten around to see, and some of them had been collecting dust for quite a while. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Fabulous amounts of extras here. In the movie we get to see a lavish production that went far above budget. After this movie, Terry Gilliam just wasn't too liked by executives in Hollywood. Fun fact: the Baron is based on a real historic person with the same name and title. A delusional old man that believes he's part of a fantastic story. Kind of reminds us of Don Quixote, doesn't it? A production like this is well suited for a 4K scan, so I might go for an upgrade in the future. This movie gets 4 cannonballs out of 5. American History X. This one and the many others was still in its plastic wrapping before this video. And I'm grateful that I get a reason to rewatch all these titles. It fortifies my love for movies. It really does. But what about this specific release of the movie? Well, there's no making of, no Nazi history, just the trailer and some deleted scene for extras. Not off to a good start, but the movie itself makes up for it. The intro, a sense of past war, history that went on. Memories, pride, regret. Maybe I'm reading too much into this since I know what the movie is about. Black and white footage suits the store raid scene well, because the skinheads sees everything that way. Not people, but rather trespassers. I can't recommend this for those of faint heart. There's just too much hate and violence. The jail scenes are interesting turning points for Danny's character and for the story actually. Real strong movie, and the ugly stuff needs to be there to motivate the turning point. 4 basketballs out of 5. Arrow Academy's Being John Malkovich. I often prefer the original artwork, but not in this case. Let's see here why that is. That's the new one, and this is the original. All Arrow releases lets you decide which one to choose. There's also a great booklet inside this one. Let's have a look at that. Real extensive. I think it's an explanation of some sort here. Yeah, you get the point, it's very long. Here we get a quirky movie full of dark comedy. Not often that you get to see a surrealistic movie nowadays. Actually a straightforward story with easy to understand symbolism. There's this funny and clever scene where Malkovich is inside Malkovich. Really creative. 5 puppets out of 5. Arrow Academy's Children of Men. I'm really digging this cover art as well. I like it more than the original, in fact. I'll show you. The new one versus the old one. As I recall, I switched out a standard Blu-ray for this one, and probably because I have a soft spot for Arrow. Didn't watch any of the extras, but there are some in there. What always seems to be lacking on Arrow releases though are different subtitles. There's always only hard-hearing ones. On to the story. A bleak future portrayed with a gritty photo. It really underscores its hopelessness. I would guess this release looks similarly good as my old Blu-ray. 4 rowboats out of 5. Deep Impact. The more serious and realistic choice compared to Armageddon. They both came out in '98. I believe it was the first movie I ever saw in the cinemas. The CGI appears a bit 90s and doesn't always blend perfectly with, for example, the miniature spacecraft. I'm glad the director didn't have it replaced though. Lucas! Camera! 3 fishes out of 5. Equilibrium. There is some, but not a lot of extras to this release. The photo is quite muddy and gritty. Too grainy for a lifeless community in my meaning. Maybe they should have shot the movie with a digital camera and added grain to the more human scenes instead. The visuals make me feel nothing. No, just kidding. They're great. Cool Matrix-inspired scene early on. The one in the column room later on is too rip-off though. This movie's theme fits in well with our present time. Do we need less extremes, perhaps? Obviously, we need to feel. But would it be better if we learned to control our impulses and such? The story isn't that unique, and is obviously inspired by 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. On top of this, the style and design is blatantly similar to, you guessed it, The Matrix, which came out a couple of years earlier. The ending is somewhat pro-war. I would have preferred it being more new thinking. I feel this release is worth 3 red ribbons out of 5. You have reached the end of part 1. See you in 2.